Hi, darling. Welcome. It's been a while. My voice is gone. That's because I've been struggling with the flu. But I want to talk about AI and algorithms and just how these tools, these software, um, doesn't want you or they don't want you to be human. I Where do I get this from? I get this from a sense that I see there's a lot of conversations, there's been a lot of conversations for a long time, probably since social media has started to become lucrative, where there's talks and discussions about becoming a brand, branding yourself, marketing yourself, and which is all good and well. I do believe that social media is a powerful tool when it comes to being able to make money from. But I also think we should consider something. I consider myself a creative person, but I don't think that's uniquely to me. I think most human beings have something they're very creative by, and mediums like YouTube are tools that I have always seen, even as a kid, as tools that could be used for self expression, which I do believe is still allowed to a degree on social media. But my struggle is, if we're being honest, if you are very creative and you don't have a niche platform, you will not be marketed properly. You will not basically, you won't be the algorithm's best friend, because the algorithm requires you to be predictable. It requires you to push out content that is similar or in the same category. So if you are a beauty influencer, you're expected to talk about beauty all the time. If you are automobile influencer, you have to talk about cars or tech. If you're a tech influencer, same thing. My issue is I don't consider myself as someone who wants to put myself into a niche or who wants to box myself into doing one category or one particular brand of content. I am a social commentator, but I'm also a human being. I'm also a creative person. And I realize that these tools, this software doesn't want you to be human. It doesn't want you to be unpredictable. It doesn't want you to be complicated and messy. It wants you to make, basically, from what I've seen and observed and studied a little about AI, is that it basically works on pattern recognition. It says if you are watching a TikTok video or a YouTube video on this particular topic, and it's obviously measuring how long you spend on certain topics, and then it collects that information and recommends that same information, data and content to you. So if you are consuming, or you are a creator who does not put their content into a box or a niche, you're making it hard for the algorithm to basically push you, because it's like, where do we put you? You are all over the place. And if we're being honest, the algorithm, basically, I don't think it hates creativity. I just think, my opinion is, the algorithm doesn't basically reward unpredictability. It doesn't reward people who, I consider myself multifaceted. I want to talk about everything. I'm a human being. Human beings, we're not just one thing. We're not our career, our race, our nationality. We are way more. We are not just our hobbies. We are so many things. And I want my creativity to not be limited to talking about one particular thing. I am interested in a lot of things. I am interested in so many topics that if I have to niche myself down, that is limiting my creative sphere. I'm unruly in that way. I want to be allowed to create. However, obviously nothing dangerous or offensive. So sorry. Just fixing my puff. But I want to be allowed to create whatever. The sad part is that as I create because I want to basically help other people. I want to help in the sense that I want you to basically forget about your stressful day, come onto a platform and relax and just listen and learn something. Forget about what's happening in your life, all the bad stuff. That's for me what creation is. It's to take you away. It's to take basically the viewer, but also the creator into a different space, into a different mind. That's why I love creation. I love creating. So if you're going to tell me to put myself into a niche, that is something I cannot do. I like so many things and there's so many topics that I want to touch upon. There's so many ideas. There's a constant stream of thought in my head. So one thing that I learned is obviously one of the things that I've had to accept is that if you are a true or you genuinely enjoy creating, I wouldn't say a true creator, but if you genuinely, because I don't want to be, a purist when it comes to who's creative and who isn't. I think that you should create for the love of creation, because if we're being honest, the algorithm isn't going to reward you for basically not for being unpredictable, for producing content that is not similar. The algorithm will not reward you for that. But I see things very differently. I want to create, and I now have to accept that there's a possibility that I will continue creating, but there won't be any monetary value that I might gain from it. But I might meet interesting people. I might get to connect to different human beings, to communities. To me, creating is basically speaking or using my digital work, my digital videos, everything, to connect to someone who shares the same perspective, but also to connect to people who might teach me something different from my own perspective. So I say this to say that the algorithm does not reward you being human. You have to be robotic. You have to push out content consistently. You have to be easy to market. You have to be like a Nara Smith. You have to be a clean canvas that is easily digestible. And I have never met any human being who is just easily digestible. But I get that. We're in the era of social media. Social media is a huge part of our lives. And no matter how many times you say you're going to leave social media, most people are on social media, and it's how we connect to even our family and friends. So my only issue with this one-dimensional take on human beings and content is that I see people becoming one-dimensional. I see people not being able to express their own creativity. Like I see it with now following a trend is very common, whereas if I look back in the early 2000s movies, I used to love watching those high school movies, because even though there were kids who were following a trend, there were different groups of different people. There were the goths, there were the I don't know, the Barbies, the plastics, there were the skaters, they were different creative groups, different forms of expression. But now with this era of social media, because you have to be a niche, even the content that you produce to people is also creating almost like minions that also follow trends. Oh, let's follow the coquette trend. Let's follow the mob wife aesthetic. Let's follow the clean girl aesthetic. Let's follow the coquette. It's always like one dimensional. It's like people want to be part of the mainstream trends, and which I totally understand. It's a human need to connect and be part of something, but I love creative people. I love when I watch a video and it gives me a different perspective. I love when I watch a movie and it takes me to a different universe. And that's for me why I love creativity. I love creativity. For me, my creativity shouldn't be bounded. It should be allowed to flourish freely, like nature. Because I think if you think about, even if you're not religious, if you think about nature in itself, it's very colorful, it's very diverse, it's very unruly, it's very creative. And I think human beings are the same way. So this is something to think about. And if you truly enjoyed this topic or found it interesting, like, comment, subscribe, darling, and I'll see you in whatever my unpredictable timetable becomes. Okay? Bye-bye.